While we were in Morocco, one thing that stood out the most to me was the sanitation, especially in Fez. Whenever we were walking through the Medinas, I remember I would look down alleyways and there were just piles and piles of trash. And that was something that was really interesting to me because I didn't really see a ton of trash cans while we were in the Medinas. And I was comparing it to America, and America has people who clean the streets up to prevent the trash building up like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting, especially since it is still a developing country, to compare stuff like that because obviously sanitation isn't at the top of their list right now. And another thing that I thought was interesting was the heads while we were walking through the meat section, but also the cats that were roaming around in the meat section. That's something that you would never see in America because of all of our laws against like food regulations and everything like that. And then the bees that were in the honey desserts. I thought that was cool, but I also thought that was kind of, I would not like that personally. I mean, I ended up trying one, but at the time I was kind of like, that's kind of interesting. And if there are flies on food in America, everyone like freaks out. So yeah, I thought the sanitation was definitely very different than it is in America.
Walking around the cities, it was really surprising to see that there was just trash everywhere. Like even in Rabat, the more modernized city, you could just see trash laying in the gutter. But it was also really interesting because once we got to Marrakesh, people were like street sweeping to try and get trash out. But it seems like the garbage pollution there was all over.
When we first got there, I didn't really notice the amount of trash that was everywhere until Gracie kind of pointed it out to me. And after that, I couldn't miss it. You could see it, you could smell it. It was kind of everywhere, especially when we were walking around this Medina in Fez. That amount of tight quarters and the amount of people that were in there, plus garbage being everywhere, really kind of grossed me out. And it's just not something that we're used to living in the United States. And on top of that, the whole time we were there, I only saw one garbage truck coming to collect a dumpster that was very, very overfull. So I started to think about, with the amount of litter and everything everywhere, not only is that going to harm the environment in the long term, but if trash is not disposed of in a sustainably and proper way, it can have a lot of negative health effects on people. So I was trying to think of like, well, if they are collecting this trash, clearly like it has to be going somewhere. And I started wondering like, where is all this trash really going, and are people disposing of it properly? Because if not, that can really hurt the country's environment and climate.
We were not the only tourists who noticed the large amounts of trash. While traveling in Rabat, a blogger said, "No one can deny this city's beauty. Walking along the shoreline of the ocean, the view was unique and stunning. However, I could not help but get distracted by the plastic bottles, bags, and wrappers scattered across the pathways." The observations we made led us to research if anything is being done to combat the garbage issue in Morocco. Waste management is a fairly recent initiative for Moroccan government. Morocco is rapidly developing and each year brings more and more tourists. As the country grows, so does the amount of waste. According to statistics in 2017, Morocco produces 5 million tons of solid waste each year. This is equivalent to 10 billion pounds. Before recent reforms, the World Bank reported that only 70% of urban solid waste was being collected, and out of that waste, less than 10% was being disposed of in a socially acceptable manner. So you may be thinking, if there's 10 billion pounds of garbage and only 10% is being disposed of properly, where's the rest of the garbage going?
Morocco produces 5 to 6 million tons of waste a year, and it usually goes to informal dumps like this one on the outskirts of Rabat.
Along with these informal dumps, there are formal landfills established in the larger cities. However, even in the set waste sites, there's very little regulation. In an article posted by the Morocco World News, they reported on the shutdown of one of the largest landfills in the country. The article states that in addition to the household waste, more than 3,000 tons of hospital, industrial, and unshelled rubbish are illegally delivered to the site daily by 750 tipper trucks. The overwhelming smell from the site reaches over miles, reaching not only surrounding areas like the Mediona and the Mohammed V Airport, but also more distant areas like Sabata and Titmalil. Because of the lack of proper landfills, it is not uncommon to see the people in Morocco burning garbage as their way of disposing it. There's a lack of waste management infrastructure, which has led people to burn their trash instead of dealing with it properly. Burning trash can cause major health concerns because of the large amount of dioxins the fire releases into the air. These dioxins are highly toxic environmental pollutants that are produced when household waste is burned. Once these dioxins are released into the air, they land on the leaves of bushes and trees. Animals eat these dioxin-dipped plants. We eat the animals, and now everybody is sick. Not only have tourists noticed the lack of sanitation regulations, actual Moroccan citizens have spoken up about the amount of trash in their home cities.
A beautiful oasis in the mountains of central Morocco turned into a rubbish dump. Our observer Laoussine Boufoulos lives in the village of Targa in Tushka. He's making videos in the hope the authorities will do something about it.
All this trash, most of it's plastic. It's dumped directly in the river. The river is used downstream for irrigation and drinking water.
Morocco is still developing, and the government is working on making the country a safer place to live. In the past, the Moroccan government, along with various NGOs, have focused on water sanitation and accessibility. The new water programs have been very beneficial and effective, but with the amount of trash ending up in the water supply, all of their efforts towards clean water will be rescinded. Morocco is an amazing country full of breathtaking views and bustling cities. Not only can the litter distract from the beauty this country has to offer, it causes a tainting of our environment and major health problems. This result is hard to reverse and will harm the planet on which future generations must live and thrive. The World Bank stated that as cities in Morocco's increase in population, municipal solid waste management has become one of the most serious environmental challenges in urban areas. This is because of its adverse effects on the quality of life, human health, natural resources, and economic and social development. Luckily, there is a silver lining for the future of Morocco's waste management issues. In 2015, the World Bank allocated $271 million for the Moroccan government to develop a waste management plan. The plan's details include developing around 80 landfill sites, improving trash pickup services, and increasing recycling by 20%, all by the year 2020. This is expected to do wonders for the urban population, and the country can only hope that the benefits of this reform will trickle down to the rest of the Moroccan population living in rural areas. As a part of the program, an estimated 50,000 to 70,000 jobs will be created by 2022 through income-generated activities dedicated to waste recycling. Since the beginning of these initiatives, more than 15 million people are now benefiting from upgraded municipal solid waste services. The waste collection ratio in urban areas has increased from 45% in 2007 to 80% today. More than 35% of the waste being collected is being disposed of in accordance with acceptable social and environmental practices.
Now it is better. Trash used to be dumped everywhere. Now there are rules.
The workers say sorting in one place and having regular salaries make a messy job less difficult.
The Moroccan government is making a conscious effort to improve the sanitation and overall living conditions for citizens. While there are still areas that require higher levels of regulation, the new waste management initiatives are already helping the country thrive in more ways than one. Our experience allowed us to fall in love with Morocco, and we want to see the country and people thrive. Morocco truly is an amazing place, full of incredible people, and we are glad to see that they are taking steps towards safer living conditions and environmental sustainability.